You know, I love Pokemon. I don't talk too much about it on my channel, but I certainly do love my Pocket Monsters. It's a series that I had growing up alongside me, and I haven't missed a generation. That being said, there are things about the series that I really don't care for. And we're doing another commentary on a list of Pokemon that shouldn't exist. May Arceus have mercy on my griffin soul. The video is by a guy named Psylocke Hawk, and has three other people helping him with it. As such, to help save my sanity on this, I decided to call in some help with my friend Scarlett. Unfortunately, my help's ability to actually record audio was sabotaged by what they refer to as unavoidably terrible acoustics, and also this webcam's built-in microphone has the audio quality of an early I Like Kim Possible episode.
Pokemon. Pokemon! Right out of the gate, and I am biased against this countdown already. You know it's gonna be awkward when this guy pronounces the name of the franchise in the way your mom did when you were 7.
How has Nintendo and Game Freak kept the series interesting for all these years?
Well, Vince, I'm gonna tell you. Hundreds and hundreds of new goddamn Pokemon every single game. Oh my god, what the fuck. See, when I was growing up with Pokemon, there was 151. And when I was a kid, that was a shit ton. I mean, heck, even reflecting upon it now, 151! That's a lot of little destructive monsters. So how many Pokemon do they have now? 718. Jesus Christ, do we really need that many Poke-assholes? No! No, we don't! It's called marketing, and yeah, we kinda do. Marketing a game takes something to usually market it with. And monsters are easier to sell than, buy our new shit! It's the exact same thing as the old shit, but we added graphics! The new Pokemon allow players for massive customization, multiple choices, and since the Pokemon games are RPGs, that's something that a lot of gamers who enjoy this genre of gaming can get behind. Game Freak has made it very clear at this point that they definitely value quantity over quality. Well, guess what? I don't. Seriously, I'd much rather have 10 new awesome Pokemon than 100 new pointless ones. And don't worry, we've got plenty of those over the years. Cofagrigus.
What's Cofagrigus?
Cofagrigus. There is no N. How do you screw this up when it's right on the screen? Oh, Cofagrigus is the coffin Pokemon.
Wait, what?
Cofagrigus is quite literally a coffin with arms. Is that seriously an appropriate excuse for a Pokemon? I mean, think about it. A coffin is just empty casing to stow away dead bodies. You know, the perfect suspect to base a Pokemon off of. Gee, I'm not sure why a coffin is an appropriate motif for a pure ghost-type Pokemon with high defense stats. Not to mention, it's a sarcophagus, hence the name, Cofagrigus. And given it's the only evolved Pokemon to have the mummy ability, can be found in a desert, and has its pre-evolved form also found in said desert, yeah, I have no idea what Game Freak decided on this. It must be because of the greatest evil of all time. Ancient Egypt! Why did Game Freak feel the need to give an inanimate object arms? Let alone mark it off as a new Pokemon. Oh yeah, putting arms and faces on inanimate objects was never used to market a preceding Pokemon. In the 4th generation of Pokemon, aka Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, nearly 30 of the 106 new Pokemon added were evolved forms of prior Pokemon, some of which were actually pretty cool. But then you have Togekiss, the final evolution of Togepi. Oh god, Togepi, what have they done to you? Yeah, and Togekiss actually managed to make the Togepi line awesome. Where Togetic had a meager 405 base stat total, Togekiss gets a boosted of 545 base stats, with special attack and defense focused on. And since Gen 6, it became a fairy type. It can become even better in competitions. Togepi already had an evolution in the form of Togetic, and while Togetic looked a bit, derpy, it seemed appropriate. To be honest, Togekiss looks like it devolved from Togetic, not the other way around. For one, it no longer has hands. Of course, not having hands is a mark of total inferiority of all things, as we all know. Ooh. But if you want to get technical, Togekiss can still learn punching moves, so one would assume that Togekiss's wings actually double as hands. And there's even reference in the Pokemon world that some Pokemon with wings can use those wings as hands. Hi, Farfetch'd! Second of all, where is its form? Shouldn't an evolution cause a Pokemon to gain more of a figure? That's how it always was. In earlier evolutions, the Pokemon is typically stubby and cute, but when it evolves, it becomes fierce and distinguished. But Togekiss is a goddamn flying saucer. Oh yes, all previous evolutions became more fierce and distinguished, like Wigglytuff, like Electrode, like Poliwrath. Like seriously, Poliwrath is Poliwhirl after about 4 protein shakes. But back on point with your gain more of a figure, Togetic does when it evolves. Togetic only has 2 feet of height to its name and weighs about 7 pounds. When it evolves, it practically doubles its height at 4 feet and 11 inches and weighs about 83 pounds. Yeah, till he doesn't gain a figure. Spoink, or as the Pokédex refers to it, the Bounce Pokemon. Huh. Also, according to the Pokédex, and I quote, Spoink bounces around on its tail. The shock of its bouncing makes its heart pump, and as a result, this Pokemon cannot afford to stop bouncing. If it stops, its heart will stop.
That is horrid.
Well, yeah, it's not like any Pokemon from Generation 1 have ever had depressing or terrifying qualities linked to their lifespans. Oh, hello there, Charmander! How you doing, buddy?
Sure, you can rip on it for having a bad design, or just kind of being useless in battle, and make that your reason it shouldn't exist. But my reason it shouldn't exist is out of pure pity. Spoink must live a hellish life of tired stress. How does it sleep?
Well, since you went to the Pokédex entry to make this point, let's go to another entry. In the Emerald Pokédex entry, it bounces while it sleeps. So there you go. Took me so little time to find out, it's not even worth the more you know gag. Especially since it's on the same damn page you took the Pokédex entry from before. Right underneath it, too! This entry is sure to piss off a lot of people, but I'm sure those same people I'll theoretically piss off have already been aggravated for the duration of this entire video. So, here we go anyway. Tornadus, Landorus, and Thundurus. You know, it was Vince's idea to have this one on the list. So, Vince, what do you have to say about Tornadus?
It's dumb.
Great commentary there, Vince. Live the dream. Woo. Tornadus, alongside its other variations, is arguably the dumbest design for a legendary. I mean, you look at it, and you don't even know what you're looking at. Is that white scribble supposed to be a mustache or a cloud? If it's a mustache, then why does he have a Hitler stash under his mustache? Or is that his mouth? What is this even supposed to be? Some type of genie? Well, they're based off Japanese gods. You know, your genie comment was listed on Bulbapedia where you got a lot of your information from prior entries. This was on the same line as the genie inspiration line. The 3 are based off Fujin, Raijin, and Inari. Landorus is based off the god of foxes? Also, as a little fun note, in Black and White, the fields near the Mirror of Origins, where you can change the forms of these 3 Pokemon, Vulpix is actually native to the surrounding area. And as if the design wasn't bad enough, it's actually repeated in its 2 other forms, with the biggest difference being a mere palette swap.
Oh, you understood that? Not a word.
Oh yes, just a mere palette swap. Let's just ignore the tail designs, the number of horns, and a whole bunch of other little details that you can see right there in your example. Speaking of which, your complaint doesn't really hold water anymore because, in case you've forgotten, or maybe you didn't, because you kind of cut off the footage of the 3 right there, there are the Therian forms. You know, the forms you can actively change in the sequel games that they appeared in, and then on to make them look completely different. The forms that Game Freak actively changed, so that way you can have more variety.
Wormadam.
Wormadam. More like, not worth a damn. Am I right?
That's awful. Just
Wow.
stop.
Wow.
Just leave.
You suck!
It appears that the video has resorted to doing snarky commentary on itself. Clearly I am no longer needed for this. So you're playing for Diamond and Pearl for the first time in your life, and you run into the monstrosity that is Burmy. Being a cocoon, you just don't know what it'll eventually evolve into. 2 points here. 1. You seriously couldn't use an emulator or find footage on YouTube of a Burmy, or heck, just use a sprite? And 2, it's a bagworm. Oh, maybe it'll evolve into something cool like Beedrill. Or maybe it'll evolve into a butterfly like Butterfree. Or maybe it'll evolve into a— oh shit, it just evolves into another cocoon. Well, that's just upsetting. That's only if it's female, otherwise you get a Mothram if it's male. So yeah, you're not just limited to another bagworm. Also, Wormadam's ground form looks like a slice of pepperoni pizza. No, I take that back. Wormadam's ground form is a slice of pepperoni pizza.
If there's one thing Pokemon games are good at doing, it's copying themselves. Wormadam is basically the 4th generation version of Metapod.
Despite the fact you can get Wormadam in 3 different types, ground, grass, and steel, can learn more than just harden, and oh yeah, it's not a cocoon! In addition, thanks to its cloaked forms, while its plant cloaked form has the most weaknesses, 6, its sandy cloak only weak to 4, and its trash cloak only weak to 1 type, fire, the comparison to Metapod does not work. I swear to God, if they do that pizza guy again, I'm gonna throw someone out the window.
However, Wormadam has something that no other cocoon Pokemon can say it has. You see, Wormadam is different. It's special. It has a funny way of letting you know that. For if you are lucky enough to have a Wormadam in its ground typing, you won't just have a hilariously terrible Pokemon, you'll have a fresh slice of pepperoni pizza. Brought to you by Little Caesars.
Klinklang. Klinklang is literally just a bunch of floating gears. Klinklang is such a lazy Pokemon in fact that its prior form, Klang, is the same exact thing as Klinklang. The only difference being Klinklang has a steel trim encompassing it. Well, I can't think of any Pokemon from previous generations to be a group of similar things, especially not ones that had competitive use, or picked up the steel typing in Generation 2, or named Magneton, Dugtrio, Execute. What I'm getting at here is that your complaint on Klinklang can easily be applied to several other Pokemon, Magneton and Dugtrio especially, yet none of these are on your list. Every Pokemon title has its obligatory rodent Pokemon you find early in the game. Generation 1 has Rattata, Generation 2 has Sentret, Gen 3 has Zigzagoon, and Gen 4 has the abomination that is, Bidoof.
Rodents of unusual size? I don't think they exist.
So, if Bidoof is an abomination, it's clearly gonna be on this list, right? I mean, it's hateable enough to become a meme. Come on, guys! Low-hanging fruit, go for it! But even Bidoof, as lovely as it is, doesn't even compare to the horror that is Patrat. Aside from it being laughingly weak, Patrat might honestly be one of the creepiest Pokemon ever conceived. I'm really not sure how to respond to this other than a jaw-dropping, what? And I lost my lower jaw a while ago. Okay, 3 points. First, laughably weak. Its base stat total is higher than the other 4 Pokemon you mentioned. Second, a 255 base spread on a basic Pokemon that evolves and has a pretty useful move pool early into the game, you know, when you'd actually want to use a rodent on your team, isn't all that terrible. Particularly when that rodent evolves early as well. Oh, and third, creepiest Pokemon ever conceived? Combee.
Combee? A bee with a honeycomb for a body? This makes Honey Nut Cheerios a terrifying thought for the Pokemon universe. So, does this thing compose the walls of its own hives? Because that's terrifying. A wall of smiling faces watching you always. Also, 3 faces. Why? Just why?
Pokemon already had a bee Pokemon in the form of Beedrill, so why they feel obligated to add another bee is beyond me.
Oh, maybe it'll evolve into something cool like Beedrill. Or maybe it'll evolve into a butterfly like Butterfree. Or maybe it'll evolve into— oh shit, it just evolves into another cocoon. Well, that's just upsetting.
You know, from the way you sounded in that clip, it made you seem you wanted more bees in the Pokemon. Wait, no, don't use that clip!
You'd better beware!
You see what you made me do? Probopass. The apparently compass Pokemon. I mean, that's what it says in the Pokédex entry at least. But seriously, this thing is as much as a compass as this is real butter. Honestly, Probopass looks more like the stone heads of Easter Island than any compass I've ever seen. One of the design elements is the Easter Island heads. But the compass design is also apparent when you look at its big nose being the needle for the compass. While the other 3 heads, yeah, they act as directions on a compass. And as you mentioned, its nose is actually a magnet, a trait that inherits from Nosepass, and compasses are magnets. And by the way, its nose hair? Not nose hair. Those are actually metal filings because Probopass is nothing more than an awkwardly shaped magnet. Ew. But magnet and compass controversy aside, Probopass is primarily on the list because it looks f***ing retarded. Really? You think those being metal filings is more disgusting than them being massive unkempt nose hair? Alright, whatever you say, man. Ugh. Tangrowth.
Okay, so Tangrowth. It's an evolution of Tangela, which obviously really needed an evolution. Okay, seriously.
Yeah, it did. It was no evolution Pokemon with meager stats.
Tangrowth is so damn pointless. From a game perspective, Tangrowth has stats just abysmal enough to doom it to the category of rarely used. Tangrowth just isn't worth the effort. From a creative standpoint, Tangrowth makes even less sense, as it just appears to be a taller, fatter Tangela that's lost its sense of shoe style. Like Lickilicky, Togekiss, and Probopass, with Tangrowth, Game Freak continues to make the mistake that making a Pokemon bigger and physically bulkier makes for a good evolution, which clearly, given that all 4 of them are on this list, it doesn't.
In earlier evolutions, the Pokemon is typically stubby and cute, but when it evolves, it becomes fierce and distinguished.
Amoonguss. I really don't know what to say about this one. It's a mushroom that resembles a Pokeball. The design is lazy, the concept is dumb, and it's a grass poison type. As if we didn't have enough of those already. Hey buddy, you wanna see lazy? Meet Voltorb and Electrode. Well, Amoonguss has parts of it looking like a Pokeball. I can tell it's a mushroom. It's not just a Pokeball. If you wanna talk lazy, the laziest design is Ditto!
Amoonguss? Like the stupid saying, fungus among us? Seriously, Game Freak? What's next? Fun Guy? The Pokemon that gets invited to parties?
Jesse, just stop. I love how the video is becoming self-aware of how bad it is. It makes my job a lot easier. Rotom.
Rotom is the gift that just keeps on giving. I mean, it really goes the extra mile to make you pity it.
Are you f***ing kidding me? Rotom? That's it! I'm done! I can't do this! Let me out of here!
Not only is it a creepy lightning ghost, it can also turn itself into a fridge, a fan, a washing machine, an oven, and my personal favorite, a lawnmower. And in each form, it has those creepy demon eyes that stare into your soul.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. It's a ghost. It's supposed to be creepy and have the ability to possess things. Way to miss the point!
Though its strange typings make it really fun for competitive battling, its appearances are inexcusably stupid and bring the pun of Pokemon creators slapping a pair of eyes onto any and all inanimate objects to a whole new level.
Munna. Hey Vince, why don't I let you handle this one?
It's pink. I hate it.
Everybody, make way for the next genius on the internet! Vince! Interesting bit of trivia regarding Munna though. In Pokemon Red and Blue, a trainer describes wanting a pink Pokemon with a floral pattern, which is essentially all Munna really is. The NPCs in Pokemon are intentionally idiotic, but who's the real idiot here? The NPC, or the game artist taking Pokemon design advice from an NPC? So what I got from this segment on why Munna doesn't deserve to exist is because it's pink and has flower designs.
I wish I had the slightest idea of what the hell I was doing.
I gotta be honest, I was sincerely surprised of all the new Pokemon introduced in Pokemon X and Y. If you haven't already noticed, I'm not too particularly fond of all the recently added Pokemon. I mean, really, how could you blame me? Oh, I can think of a few reasons. Cherry-picking information, not bothering to look in 2 inches to the right or down on the same page, not knowing how to say words correctly, criticizing Pokemon for reasons that can be applied to several other Pokemon, and... However, X and Y really did impress me. For the most part, all the new Pokemon added are actually pretty cool. There's a few, Pokemon such as Slurpuff and, well, whatever that is. But the rest of the bunch, well, they really did take me by surprise. And I mean that in a good connotation. That is all but Klefki. Klefki being the only Pokemon on this entire list that originates from 6th generation of Pokemon, you really gotta wonder, what the hell was Game Freak thinking when they designed this one? Let me tell you something. Klefki is based off the Fey folk for stealing small objects like shoes and keys. It's also based off the superstition of carrying an iron charm to ward off mischief. Giving a new Pokemon Fairy and Steel typing isn't that easy to do, yet thanks to that little bit of lore, they managed to make a very effective Pokemon that has only 2 weaknesses and can be very powerful in the OU tier, thanks to its Prankster ability, which is also a reference to the lore I just talked about. And before anyone says anything, I'm fully aware of Maw Isle, but the only reason why it's in the Uber tier is because of its Mega Evolution. Otherwise, it's NU. Do they have a damn bucket list of inanimate objects they need to make into Pokemon or something? Really? Keys! Klefki is a chain of keys!
So, just to recap. Klefki, bad. Krabby, A-OK. Seriously?
That's it! That's the punchline. Magnemite, Magnets, Grimer, Grime, Ghastly, literal ball of gas, Geodude, a rock. I mean, I could play this game all day long, but there's still another 2 or 3 minutes of actual video to wade through, and I'm beginning to regret my choice of side career.
Garbodor. Greenpeace's favorite Pokemon. Unfortunately, Garbodor doesn't have a lot going for it. On top of its unsettling appearance that looks like an unsuccessful attempt to recreate Muck, Garbodor's stats are pretty More on its looks. Just, what the hell? Being unimaginative is one thing, Game Freak, but being unimaginative and disgusting is going above and beyond the Call of Duty.
Sweet Griffinstone, I am sick of defending trash. Unimaginative and disgusting, huh? I suppose it's a bad time to show that list gag of not even 30 seconds ago in the video, where you guys implied that Game Freak would create a tampon Pokemon next, isn't it? Or, you know, this?
I mean, Jesus, it's a giant pile of trash, which raises a lot of questions. Like, how the hell does landfill come to life?
I don't know, the same way that sludge comes to life to make Muck and Grimer. Also, like I said in my video on Proto Mario, Garbodor and Trubbish actually make sense when you consider Unova's region is based off New York City, known for having a trash problem. And since we got Pokemon that were, you know, created with science, of course, it's not a stretch that Garbodor could exist. Oh, but this isn't the worst part of this segment. Oh.
Back to its abysmal competitive abilities, Garbodor is cursed by being a poison type with a terrible special attack stat, and having its highest stat be attack. This is Flareon level stupid, since poison type moves, especially the most popular ones, are almost never physical attack moves.
In Gen 5, there were 15 damaging poison type moves, 6 of which were physical. Granted, most of the physical moves Garbodor could not learn. I don't know why it couldn't learn Poison Jab, it's got arms, use them, but the strongest move at the time was a physical move known as Gunk Shot with 120 power to it, making it the strongest poison type move at the time, and currently tied with Belch in the 6th gen. Now, Garbodor can actually learn Gunk Shot at its later levels, but thanks to the move tutors in the generation it was introduced in, and then on, it can learn it at any level. And how nice you scroll over the attack listings and ignore the fact that Garbodor is mostly used as a spiker and can be used to set up for revenge kills in the aftermath. In addition, remember when you said this?
Back to its abysmal competitive abilities, Garbodor is cursed by being a poison type with a terrible special attack stat, and having its highest stat be attack.
Well, it's hardly worth it, but boo!
Muck and Weezing aren't that well off either, with Muck having only 5 points of special attack and Weezing having 25 more than Garbodor. If you're complaining about both design-wise and battle capability, then your arguments could easily apply to Muck, since the only physical difference between its evolution of Grimer and Muck is a size change, while Trubbish and Garbodor, while looking similar, aren't the exact same thing. As for stat and move-wise, the only reason why Muck could be considered better is because it can learn another physical poison move, Poison Jab. Now, while Muck does have a higher attack strength, your complaints on Garbodor apply to Muck. Really, the only reason why I think Garbodor is even on this list is because you want to get on a bandwagon for hating the thing, or you're one of those people who just hate on the newer generations because
they're not as good as the older ones.
Vanilluxe.
Horrible is all I can use to describe Vanilluxe.
And I instantly love Vanilluxe now. I'm becoming a contrarian, but can you really blame me? So before I was all LOL stupid and gimmicky, and now we're gonna complain about what exactly? That the shiny wasn't your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Despite its particularly scrumptious design, it fails to even remotely stand out amongst ice types in any other way than looking stupid and gimmicky. While its stats aren't particularly horrid, it is such a shallow move pool that it's impossible to capitalize on this, as Ice Beam simply isn't going to work on everything.
Alright, you know what? I'm in agreement. Ice Beam just won't cut it. You know what will? Blizzard. If you have a hail starter going on, Vanilluxe can actually be viable. Give it Blizzard, Protect, Substitute, and either Toxic or Hidden Power Ground or Rock, and for good measure, give it Leftovers to hold. With Hail out, Vanilluxe's Ice Body ability will activate, giving it a 16th of its health back, while Leftovers will do the same. Start out with Substitute and use Protect on the next turn to gain back your health. Thanks to the hail coming down, not only do you have chip damage for any non-ice type Pokemon, Blizzard bypasses the accuracy check, which thanks to its 110 power and Vanilluxe's high special attack stat, it will hurt when it hits. But like I said in my Proto Mario commentary, Any Pokemon can be viable, you just need the right strategy.
So, to be pretty honest, Vanilluxe's shiny is terrible and a serious wasted opportunity. For the love of God, Game Freak, you could have made it look like butterscotch, or chocolate, or even mint. But what did they do? They made it a slightly darker shade of blue. God damn it, Game Freak. If you're going to force a gimmicky Pokemon upon us, at least have the 2 scoops to go all the way with it.
Well, that's just depressing.
It's an ice cream cone. I don't know whether I should catch it or eat it on a hot day. I mean, sweet Jesus, the thing's seriously just an ice cream cone. I love ice cream, but I don't want to use it in a fight. I'd be afraid the other Pokemon would just eat it, or laugh at it, or both.
I just hate it because I don't know.
Vanilluxe hits the #1 spot in this list because not only is it, well, the ice cream Pokemon, but even its design is pretty bad. It's not cute, Game Freak, just pretty people.
And to that I say, okay, so Vanilluxe is unoriginal because it's ice cream, but Voltorb is perfectly okay, even though it's clearly just a Pokeball. Oh, and even better, its evolution, Electrode, that's even better. It's literally just Voltorb turned upside down. So you're gonna tell me that Vanilluxe sucks, and Vanilluxe is unoriginal because it's based on ice cream, but Voltorb is okay, even though it's clearly just inspired by one of the key items in the game, and its evolution is the same exact thing, but turned upside down. No, get that shit out of here.
And I'm ending the video here, since it's just him making more stupid jokes and promoting the guy who bought him Pokemon X. All in all, this list? Dear sweet Arceus, help me! The reasons, or lack thereof, for why these Pokemon shouldn't exist were terrible! Ranging to just bad jokes, giving misinformation, or cherry-picking information to reinforce their points. Look, when I started doing commentaries, I promised myself I would be respectful to people no matter what. And while I'm sure Silohawker is a nice and okay guy, this video was just terrible. Heck, to be honest, I can understand that people don't like certain Pokemon. I really do. I have some Pokemon I don't like. People can have opinions, but said opinions can be challenged. I said this before in my Proto Mario commentary. You put an opinion on a public forum, people are allowed to question it, even if it's something as meager as which Pokemon shouldn't exist. Heck, if you had just gone with design-wise alone, I wouldn't be here on the edge of my sanity, since that's an aesthetic choice and tastes vary between people. But the moment you try to rationalize your reasoning with supposed facts, such as stats, move pools, and the like, the opinion card does not work, since people can criticize not only your facts, but to the same extent your opinions that are based on said facts. While you had good editing for the most part, it was the script that suffered here. Not to mention, I couldn't help but notice that a lot of your reasons could apply to a ton of older generation Pokemon, but oddly enough, they're not on the list. Why?
Because Gen 1 is #1, blah!